How's it going, family? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we got a lot of things to unravel and to discuss regarding Lillian Finance. On this channel, we pride ourselves with bringing you the news in an objective manner, removing all of our biases and implied bias that we may have, and come to you and talk to you without those opinions in an objective manner, bringing you the news to hopefully help you and your family become a millionaire, which is one of the reasons why we continuously talked about Lillian Finance, because we believed in the mission of the project. We believe that Lillian Finance could revolutionize the healthcare space. We believed in the mission of Lillian Finance helping to save sweet children. And that's why we talked about Lillian Finance on this channel. A lot of people were in my inbox. A lot of people were sending me Twitter messages. A lot of people were in the comments every time I made a video that talked about Lillian Finance. A lot of people called it a scam. A lot of people called me names. A lot of people did a lot of those things, called me explicatives, and so on and so forth. But you know what? I got thick skin. It comes with the territory, being a content creator and influencer on YouTube. But that does not excuse the behavior and what happened with Lillian Finance over the last couple of days. And I'll be the first to say, I'm extremely disappointed, guys. Now, with that being said, I wanted to say this. I want us to take a trip back down in time and see how we got here, because it's not looking really too pretty right now with all of the sentiment out in the crypto streets regarding Lillian Finance. And I'll be the first to admit that. Now, here's the thing. If we go over here and we look at this here, this is from Twitter. We saw that there was a Lillian Finance space that was held on January the 5th, right? And that space was supposed to bring clarity to us, the holders of the Lillian Finance token. Now, predating that, before that, we had the whole debacle with Coinbase. They made an announcement. They, meaning the development team, made an announcement that Lillian Finance was going to be listed on Coinbase and another top tier one centralized exchange that we never had a chance to find out who they were. I myself was very excited to bring you guys the news about Lillian Finance, to let you know, hey guys, this diamond in the rough that we've been talking about, this little future group blue chip cryptocurrency, this token that's going to revolutionize the healthcare space while at the same time saving children, it's going to be listed on Coinbase. We first expected it to be listed on Coinbase, and Coinbase come out with an announcement around the Thanksgiving holiday. That never came. That never happened. Flash forward a couple of days forward, we were amped up and hyped up that Lillian Finance will be listed on Coinbase no later than December 9th. I used to turn shots fired, because the development team was so adamant about Lillian Finance being listed on Coinbase no later than December 9th, guys. And so much so that they plastered a Coinbase ad, or it's not an ad, but a banner on the top of their Twitter saying, listen, Coinbase and Lillian Finance, signed, sealed, and delivered, check box. We got that in the bag, guys. It's coming December 9th. But we were let down. It never happened. So flash forward, as I set the scene for you, flash forward back over here to this Twitter space that was had on January 5th. During this Twitter space, I had the opportunity to attend this Twitter space. And it's recorded, by the way. So you can go ahead and go on in there and listen to it on the 5th. But this was 27 seconds. They had some technical issues. So the one that actually occurred was not recorded. Now, you can read into that what you may. I'm not here for speculating. I'm not here for innuendos and all that kind of stuff. I just am interested in bringing you the facts here to help you make good investment decisions. It's never financial advice. Like we always say in our videos, not financial advice. Never invest more than you're willing to lose. In my opinion, all crypto is speculative. And the reason why is because you can't control it, guys. You can't control it. But going back to this, we had a Lillian Finance Twitter space that was held on January the 5th, and I had the opportunity to attend this space. And it wasn't really an AMA. It was more so a space where the development team was just giving us, the holders and people that were considering buying into the Lillian Finance project, an update on some changes that were being made. One of those changes was the fact that Lillian Finance, and they reiterated this during this Twitter space. Now, I want you to keep this in mind because the dates matter here. This is January the 5th. The development team was very adamant still, even till that day on the Twitter space, saying, listen, guys, Coinbase is still coming. No need to worry. Now I'm paraphrasing here, but this is essentially what they were saying. No need to worry. Coinbase is coming. It's in the bag. Check box. We got it. We got it in the bag, guys. We're still proud of ourselves. We accomplished this. And Lillian Finance is going to be announcing sometime soon. It's just been delayed due to some technical issues that we really didn't get any more insight into. I have my opinion, what I think those technical issues are, and I'll get into that a little later. But that's what we were told. We were not given any additional details beyond that in terms of what's causing the delay for Lillian Finance and the reason for being listed on Coinbase. And the reason why is because they didn't want to nullify the contract or the NDA they had in place with Coinbase. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. In addition to that update, we received an update that Barney would be stepping aside and Cody would be taking over the reins of being over leading the effort for Lillian Finance. And Barney, as you know, he's one of the developers on the Lillian Finance team. And Barney, and I'm not trying to name call here, but we got to use names, guys, because we got to set the scene to help you to understand what we are articulating here in our viewpoint about what happened, what needs to happen, and where do we go from here in terms of Lillian Finance making this thing right. Now, going back to this. So Barney, he was stepping aside, assuming responsibilities of developing the blockchain for the medical space. That was going to be Barney's sole responsibility going forward. And Cody was going to be basically the head man in charge, the chief master to lead Lillian Finance on the glory. That's basically what was said during that Twitter space. And then also what was announced to the holders there and all of the folks that tuned into that Twitter space was the fact that Lillian Finance was going to be standing up a dedicated team whose sole purpose would be to interact with centralized exchanges or exchanges in general, whether they be decentralized or centralized exchanges, to get Lillian Finance listed on those things. So in a sense, that was kind of bullish news. And we made a video about that too, because we were pumped up, we were bullish, and so were you guys as well, judging by the comments that were left in that video that we made. Now, with that being said, if we flash forward over here to Telegram, this is where I want to take you. So now I want to set the scene here because their Telegram, Lillian Finance Telegram, is split up into two parts. First of all, the first part is the generalized Lillian Finance Twitter. And that's this right here. That's the Lillian Finance Twitter, where you see just people going back and forth, asking questions, the developers popping in here and there and things of that nature. And then you got this here, the Lillian Finance announcement Telegram. Now, this is where the official announcements come out from the development team themselves. These are the official words of the development team regarding any and everything that's going to be happening with Lillian Finance. Now, this is what I wanted to point out, guys. This right here came out on Wednesday, this past Wednesday. So that would have been, let's look at our date here. That would have been on the 11th of January, 2023. And I want to read this because we need to dive into this, guys. Because like I said, the development team got some splaining. And I know that may not be the correct vernacular. It should be explaining, but I'm going to say it this way. They got some splaining to do, guys, because, we, the holders of this community project, this token, we need to have more transparency. I'm just going to put it bluntly. This is what this says here from the official Lillian Finance announcement page. It says this: we said that we would provide updates as we have them. Progress on both of the tier 1 listings have come to a halt for the time being due to issues within, up to, and including communication barriers, social media sentiment, and technical difficulties that have collectively created an impasse that we hope will be temporary and will be working to overcome. Now, what the heck does that mean? I have my logic on what it means. Let's break it down. So, progress on tier 1 listings have come to a halt for the time being due to issues within, up and including communication barriers, social media sentiment, and technical difficulties. Now, with that being said, let's stick a pin in it because I want to tell you what I think this means. This part here, where we talk about have come to a halt due to issues with including communication barriers, I don't get that because last I heard from the development team, communications were a go. They were in touch with the folks over at Coinbase. Everything was all golden and rosy. There were no issues there. So I don't really understand what that particular point means. But let's move on. Social media sentiment. I can understand that because, people were calling Lillian Finance a scam because, we were told that Lillian Finance was going to be listed on Coinbase multiple times, multiple dates came and passed, and it didn't happen. So at some point, people are going to start to worry, hey, did they catfish us, or did they bait and switch us? Did they, like, what's going on, guys? And during this whole time, the development team, I think they should have been a little more transparent, giving us a little more details instead of just posting things here to Twitter and posting things here to Telegram. I think there should have been some type of a YouTube live AMA that should have occurred. But I digress. Let's move on. And technical difficulties that have caused this impasse that has temporarily caused them to be halted. Now, as far as the technical issue, I have a hunch that the reason why is because of the sheer number of zeros that are in the price of Lillian Finance. I'm not making an excuse for Lillian Finance, but like I said, we got to be objective, guys. So we got to consider the facts. I do believe that, if you ask me, I believe that maybe the development team had some insight into that being the reason why the project couldn't be listed on Coinbase, which brings me to talk about the V2, and we'll get into that a little later. But there will be a V2 for Lillian Finance launch. It's going to have a lot less zeros, which will make it more digestible to top tier one centralized exchanges, because I don't think they were going to list Lillian Finance based on what this is saying here that I just read to you with all those number of zeros. And I do believe that may have been that technical issue. Now let's go back over here to this, because I want to continue to digest this, guys. And I want you to stick with me throughout this video, because this is very in-depth, and this is going to answer a lot of questions and raise a lot of questions as well that I believe the development team has an obligation to you, has an obligation to me, and has an obligation to the community in general to answer. Now, we go on and read this. It says, in the meantime, beginning immediately, all operations concerning the Lillian token are being transferred to Cody G, who will step into his role as Director of Development for Lillian Finance. His first task will be leading development of both a V2 and the design and development of the Lillian ecosystem. He will be detailing these in the coming days through news and announcements through the usual channels as he builds his development team and listings team. Chief Technology Officer Barney Wicker will be stepping solely into the development of the blockchain, the medical blockchain, prioritizing a vital component for the future of this company and the future of healthcare. We know how excited our community was for both of these listings, and it saddens us to announce their halt. But there aren't words to convey how much we appreciate the support of our community, and we promise that we are going to put our noses to the grindstone to make Lillian Finance a worldwide phenomenon that everyone will want to associate with. We will be evolving in 2023. Sincerely, the Lillian Finance development team. Now, I want to say this, guys, and this is just straight from my heart, pure objectively. In business, there are times where you have to come out and take the punches, take the hits. You cannot sit behind a keyboard and put out messages in the Telegram, messages in Twitter, messages like that. Do not cut it. The community is hurting. People that invested in Lillian Finance are hurting. People have left the project because they no longer trust in the project. And it's not necessarily, in my opinion, now this is why I'm going to put a little subjectivity in it, because you got to put some kind of opinion in it to make it a conversation, right? You got to do that. But in my opinion, the community has lost some very valuable individuals because of the lack of communication, because of this here. Guys, the development team, I love you guys to death. But at the same time, it is a time to be critical when it's necessary and when it's warranted. And this is one of those times, guys. This is one of those times where we got to have a serious conversation, a serious fireside conversation about the way this stuff transpired. First and foremost, you got to be more transparent. And I just feel like deep down in my soul, guys, I feel like we, the community, have not been told everything that needs to be told. Now, if they decide, the development team or moderators decide to ban me from the Telegram, so be it. It is what it is, right? As I said before, I am not compensated in any way Here at the Crypto Stream, we are not compensated in any way. We don't get any kickbacks from talking about any projects. And that's what we pride ourselves on, because that way we could be objective in what we say, because we are not bought. And that's to the contrary of a lot of other YouTubers out there, guys. A lot of other YouTubers, they get paid to talk about projects. And I'm not saying that's wrong. You know, you got to make a living. You got to make your bread and butter. But what I'm saying here is putting a disclaimer here that we have never been paid, never been compensated in any way. No tokens, anything. All of the tokens that we purchased, we've done it ourselves. We chose to talk about Lillian Finance because, again, we believe in the mission. We believe in the technology, what we call disruptive technology that Lillian Finance promised to deliver to the market, the crypto streets, the crypto market. Now, with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at let me pull it up here. Some more announcements that came out here on the Telegram page. And this is going back to the point that I made about the development team has to do better in terms of the manner they communicate important news, especially during times like these where folks are losing faith in the Lillian Finance project. Now, this is where another announcement said, this is from the official Telegram page here. This is not from the announcement page necessarily, but this is something that was posted, and this was posted on Thursday, I believe, this Thursday. So this would have been on January 12th, 2023. And it says this: Lillian Finance Token, new direction. Because you remember, they talked about that V2. So now they came out with the announcement. They said, hey, we're sorry. All the exchange have been halted. Oh, by the way, Cody's now going to lead the effort for the development team. Oh, and by the way, Barney is now switching responsibilities to now lead he's going to be solely focused on the blockchain, because, guys, we need to get that developed. Oh, and by the way, regarding V2, this is another thing we got to tell y'all here. So that's how we got here, guys. So let's read this. It says, Lillian Finance Token, new direction, frequently asked questions. What happened to the exchanges? Progress on both of the tier 1 listings have come to a halt for the time being. This is due to issues within, up to, and including communication, social media sentiment, and technical difficulties. Okay, we read that already. The team understands this is a shock to our holders, but as we gain more information, it was very clear that changing course would be the most beneficial for the holders long term. The question I have for the development team is this: this timeline that I set for, we started off in January 5th, and I just started our timeline at January 5th for the sake of conversation. But the timeline really goes all the way back since when they initially announced that Coinbase would be listing Lillian Finance. We go way back then, way back, several weeks to months before this January 5th date. Right? So we had in the back of our heads that Lillian Finance is going to be listed on Coinbase. And then we get over to the announcement that was made, like I told you, on Wednesday, which would have been January the 11th, right? That talked about the fact that, oh, and by the way, we're going to do a V2, right? So from the 13th of January, we heard that a V2 going to be coming. And then flash forward to Thursday, which, well, actually that date was January 11th. Let me correct the date. January 11th, we were told, hey, it's going to be a V2. We made all these changes. You know, we were told also in the Twitter space that was held on January the 5th about the changes, but not necessarily about the V2. So January, let me get the timeline straight, guys. So January, because I want you to follow me. January the 5th, the community was told that, listen, you know, the project's still going to be listed on Coinbase, still delayed. We have no concerns at this point. Now, it's January the 5th. We have no concerns or anything like that. We're going to be making some changes, guys. We're going to set up a dedicated team that's going to be handling all these centralized exchanges so that Barney can go over and handle the blockchain. And then Cody, he's going to take over everything. That's what we were told on January the 5th. Now, flash forward back to Wednesday, January the 11th. That's when we got this announcement that came out in terms of you know, them saying that it's halted. So from January the 5th to January the 11th, that time frame was enough for the development team to say, hey, centralized exchanges are basically not listing. Those top tier 1 centralized exchanges, 2 of them, will not be listing Lillian Finance like we said they were before. It's halted. So it ain't gonna happen, basically. That's what it means, halted. Just keep it at 100, guys. Just telling it like it is. Because like I said, I got to be objective. If I'm going to bring the news, I got to do the good and the bad. I can't just do the good. I got to do the bad too. And keep it real, guys. That's what we do here on this channel because we have to maintain our credibility to show you that we are unbiased in the news that we bring you. Now, with that being said, so you got January the 5th, January the 11th, which is that Wednesday. And now you look at this on Thursday, which would have been, like I said before, January 12th. That's when this FAQ comes out. And this is where now we get more information about the V2 that was just dropped on us on January 11th. So one day later, after they said, hey, we're going to do a V2, guys, now we got a frequently asked question that comes out. All right. That brings us back here. This is what it says. I thought Lily wasn't going to do a V2. Because, guys, to be frank with you, the V2 question has come up many times. I have been in the Telegram. I have seen people ask about V2. And each time that they were told, they asked about whether or not there would be a V2, they were told, well, we're not really considering that right now. They never necessarily said no explicitly. They just said, we're not considering it right now. Things of that nature. So they never ruled it out. But they were like, well, we don't see a need in it right now. Now, this is what the response was to this frequently asked question. It says this: while it is true that there were no plans to do a V2 at the time, we never said that a V2 would never happen. We did say, however, that a V2 wouldn't come without good reason. At this point, we have determined several things that the holders would benefit from being changed. Not only has the crypto world evolved immensely in just this short year, but our team and goals have evolved too. And at this point, it is clear that a V2 is necessary moving forward. Now, let's talk about what a V2 is, and let's keep it real, guys. What is a V2? Basically, if you got experience in crypto, basically a V2 is like a redo. It's like, hey man, we screwed up on the V1, transactions screwed up, all these different things we screwed up. So we're gonna get a second chance. We're gonna do this thing all over. That's what a V2 is, guys. You got some cryptocurrencies out there that are on a V3, a V4. Like if you can't get it right after at least a V2, you should not be in the crypto space. Bottom line. But I digress. There are a lot of notable projects out there that have decided to do V2s, and I'm going to name them and I'm not trying to compare, but I'm going to name them because it's relevant to this conversation that we need to have, Lillian Finance developers. We need to have this conversation. You need to get out in front of these things and have a legitimate conversation and not stand behind these messages that are being put in this Telegram or tweets. You need to come out on YouTube and you need to have an AMA where the community can ask you the tough questions and you are put in the hot seat to address those tough questions adequately. That's what needs to be done. That's how you create more trust in your team. That's how you create more trust in your project. And mind you, if you do those type of things and you are more forthcoming to your community, then the project will grow. Now, with that being said, going back to these projects that I said I would talk about. Vote Enu. They created a V2 and they never looked back. Vote Enu is flourishing. It's the best thing that they could have ever done. A lot of people, they frown on V2s because they're like, oh my gosh, man, something's going to go south, because there have been some trashy V2s where the project launched the V2 and it just went to the pooper. That's true. But Vote Enu, that's an exception. Vote Enu, they're doing the thing out there in them crypto streets. Now, Saitama. I know the Lillian tribe and Saitama Wolfpack, they're not the best of friends. And I'm not trying to create any kind of rifts or create any kind of any burden on any of the sides here. I'm just stating the facts, guys. So it's relevant for this conversation. Saitama came out, they had the V1. Saitama asked no word, it was complete garbage. That didn't work. The development team dropped the ball a gazillion times. They promised, overpromised, under-delivered, if we be honest with you. A lot of hype, a lot of hopium, a lot of unfounded promises. But you know what the Saitama Wolfpack, the development team over there at Saitama did? They launched that V2. They ignored all the static. And they are now doing the thing in the crypto streets. Saitama has released utility after utility after utility after utility. So now they rose above the ashes of being known as a meme coin to something that is a legitimate project with legitimate utilities and use cases that people can't call a scam anymore. Can't call it a scam because it got use cases. Point blank. Now, we are here at Lillian Finance. Lillian Finance is talking about doing a V2. V1 was trash in terms of the launch. It was the most horrific launch I ever seen in my life, and I've been in crypto for a long time. It was by far the worst launch ever. But you know what? The development team, they made it right. The development team said they were going to come out with the 501c3 designation for the foundation side. Guess what? It was delayed. People called it a scam. People said they're lying. But guess what? They came out with it. They made it right. This is another opportunity. If you are listening to my voice, Lillian Finance Development Team, you cannot continue to make these mistakes. You cannot continue to fumble the ball. You cannot continue to do these things in a manner that cause people to feel that you are not being trusted or trustworthy, or you're not being transparent. You got to do better. You have to do better for your sake, for the sake of sweet Lillian, who is the face and the foundation of the Lillian, the whole Lillian concept. Do it in her name. After all, you're using her as the face of the project. Don't have a disgrace on her name. All of us content creators, we have decisions to make, tough decisions. We come out, we put our names on the line to talk about projects. Some projects we talk about, and some projects we refuse to talk about because we're afraid that they're going to be rug pulls. Whenever we talk about projects, we do so because we believe in those projects. Some of us are compensated. I already mentioned that we here at Crypto Stream, we do it out the kindness of our hearts, and we're not compensated. Don't make us into fools. Don't make us look like we're talking about your project in vain. Now, with that being said, development team, I know I've been critical. I love you guys the same way I love the development team over there that I'm in communication with over at Saitama. I love those guys. Do they have dirt? Do they have their skeletons in the closet in terms of things that may not have gone the best way? Yes, they do. Same thing, Vote Inu, yes, they do. Shiba Inu, yes, they do. Dogecoin, yes, they do. Bitcoin, yes, they do. You don't even know who created Bitcoin. I mean, you know who did it, but you don't know who they are. Lillian Finance, it's time to do better, guys. Development team, it's time to do better, guys. Because you know what? Like I said before, in the crypto streets, you only get a few chances, and most of the time, you only get one shot. You blow that, you have a foul play, game over, guys. Don't matter if it's V2, game over. So do the right thing, guys. Be more transparent, because you know what? Sometimes when you lose the trust of the community to the extent that it appears to have been the damage that's being done now, people will hold their tokens only because they're suffering a loss that's too much to stomach by selling, because that's when you lock in your losses. To the point where you launch a V2, price dumps, because once it goes up, those people that are trapped and can't sell their position at a loss, a substantial loss, they sell their positions at the first opportunity, and those new buyers become exit liquidity. That's what we call in crypto, is exit liquidity. That's what happens. So development team, you got to turn this ship around. You got to do it quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's what you got to do. I've ranted enough, guys, but I think I needed to come out with this heartfelt video to let you know where we stand on this in an objective manner. And the elephant in the room is, are we going to continue to talk about Lillian Finance? Like I mentioned, yeah, we probably will, but only when we see things actually being done. That's when we'll talk about Lillian Finance, because we want to protect our listeners on this channel. And our goal on this channel is for you, the investor, to create generational wealth for you and your family. You can't do that when a project keeps dropping the ball and not progressing like they said they will. You can't do that way. And as tough as this news is for the development team and for me to even say these things, because I've been an investor of Lillian Finance from the beginning, from day one, through all of the ups and downs. All of the ups and downs. But this situation right here, this is something that the development team needs to come out and do better on. They need to come out and be more transparent. And I'm going to say it again. I don't think posting things in Telegram, having a voice chat in Telegram, posting things on Twitter is enough. I think you need to come on YouTube. I would invite you to my channel to come out, have an AMA, let the community ask tough questions, because those need to be asked and answered to give the community some comfort about what you're doing and where we go from here. Now, with that being said, one of the things I wanted to mention is this. This is an opportunity for Lillian Finance to turn the ship around and make a name for itself in a positive manner, similar to what Saitama has done, similar to what Vote Inu has done. You now have that chance, development team. The ball is in your court. Have I sold my position? No. I have not sold a single token of Lillian Finance. I still believe in the project, but the development team, you need to do better. Now, one thing I wanted to mention before I wrap this video up is this, because this is a point too that I need to mention because it's quite apparent. And this is not in defense of Lillian Finance, but it's something that needs to be mentioned. If you really take a step back and be honest with yourself, you'll realize that nothing really has changed in the fundamentals of Lillian Finance in terms of the utility. They're still going to come out with a medical blockchain. They still look to revolutionize the healthcare space, in particular out of network care. They still look to continue to save sweet children by giving them life saving surgeries that they would not otherwise have been able to get if it were not for Lillian Finance and their sweet donors over there for the Lillian Bay Foundation. Right? Those kind of things. A lot of people got into Lillian Finance only because they wanted to make a quick buck because they knew it was being listed on Coinbase. And if you know about Coinbase, you've been around crypto a while, you know there's this thing called Coinbase effect, which means that it makes the token go parabolic, which means that you can 10x your money or more, like literally overnight. A lot of people were hoping for that, and that was the only purpose of being invested in Lillian Finance. And they're angry because that didn't happen. But people like myself, people that have been with the project, people that have been with the project since the beginning, and people who believe in the project fundamentals and know what they're trying to do, the goals, that roadmap of what the development team is trying to do, those are the old real investors that are going to be around. But don't take their kindness for weakness, development team, because I don't care what utilities that the project is saying they're going to do. Without community, there is no unity. And without unity, there is no project. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Crypto Stream, guys. I hope you've learned something from this video, and I hope you have understood where we stand in terms of this Lillian Finance project. And we will catch you guys again when breaking news comes out, which we always say will be real soon.